Hello there, I'm Melissa and welcome to my studio. It's November now and November's birthstone happens to be citrine. Citrine or topaz. So I do have some faceted citrine and I went through my stash and I found this nice large oval. So this citrine's really deep. So I decided to make a prong setting. It's jacked up a bit so the back of the stone is protected. These type of settings take some measuring. So if you're up for it, just stick around and I'll show you how. Okay, so let's get started. Since it's November, I grabbed a citrine from my stash. Years ago, I was on an eBay kick and I won a bunch of stones. This is a 10.95 carat, amazing golden yellow citrine from Brazil. I'm going to go ahead and pair that with gold fill wire. This is from Rio Grande. That's what I'm using today. You can use whatever faceted stone you would like to use, whatever color and whatever type of wire. Use gold fill, sterling silver, copper, whatever you choose. So looking at the size of my stone, let me go ahead and measure it for you. I did decide to use the 20 gauge square. I think 20 gauge would complement my stone really nice. Be sturdy enough. That's 17 by 13. This is a pretty big stone and it's pretty deep. See how deep that is? Let's measure. It's about 8.5 millimeters deep. So if I was to grab a bunch of wire to accommodate the depth, I'd go through a lot of wire. So this design helps minimize the wire you need. I'll show you some examples. Here's a green stone. Got that from eBay. I made a jacked up setting for this one. Only needed to use 5 wires. This is my all-time favorite. This stone is also from eBay. I think that's like a 60 carat some stone, if I remember correctly. Very, very deep stone. 7 wires for this one. I made this pendant a long time ago and I am still very proud of it. So this is what we're aiming for today. The bail, I might make a simpler design, maybe not so many swirls. So let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna go ahead and trace my stone. Got some scrap wire here. Try to get a measurement on my stone here. I'm going to measure in inches for this. It's about 2 inches. I usually triple that amount to determine my length of wire, so 6 inches. If you think you'll need extra wire, you can always add on to that number. I like to be on the safe side. I can use 7 inches for each wire. You're probably wondering the amount of wires. So I'm going to use 5, just like this one. You're going to need a row of wires for your prongs. You're going to need a row of wires to connect that to. And then your row of wires you use to jack it up. And then I use 2 rows of wires for the base. So 5 should be plenty. Gold fill is really nice to work with. It's nice and soft. This is dead soft. So I go ahead and warm it up and straighten it with my fingers. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut 5 lengths, all the same length. If you're new to wire, I suggest working with copper first. Copper is a nice metal to work with. It's nice and soft. I'd work with copper first before you advance to sterling or gold fill. Get your confidence up. We're going to be doing a lot of measuring today too, because I want to be as precise as I can. Look how dirty that is. Holy cow. You can use a cloth to straighten as well. So if you don't want to get your fingers dirty. Okay, got my wire. Let me map out where I'd want my prongs. I'm going to show you real quick. I want my wires to lay like right under the edge, and I want my prongs to come over the side here, but not go too far over the table, which is that flat part right there. So I usually make my prongs about 3 millimeters. So that should be a good length. So let's measure things out. That looks to be about 9 millimeter. That looks like it is about 13. We need to add a couple millimeters here. So let's see how that does. First of all, I'm gonna mark my center. And then this guy, our top wire, we have to make our 9 millimeter space. So I'm gonna put my center about 4.5 millimeters. And that's 9 millimeters. That's where our first set of prongs is gonna go. I'll do 3 millimeters from there. Okay, we'll start with that. For our bindings today, I'm going to use 20 gauge half round. This is also gold fill, dead soft. I'm going to cut off a length so it's easy to work with. Straighten it out. Cool way to straighten your wires is to grab it on either end with pliers and just snap it. Cool little trick. Okay, these are the top 2 wires. And I'm going to put bindings. Since there's not much room, and these I broke them up because this stone is large. This one as well. There's a big space. This one there isn't. Stone is a lot smaller, so I'm going to fill in this gap with binding. So I'm going to put a little bend in my wire. So I'm going to kind of get it started here, and then we'll line it up. Okay. Here's my second mark. That's where my prong is going to start. So I'm going to start my binding right next to it. Just like that. And I'm going to wrap down to the second to the last mark on this side. I press with my flat nose and kind of pull it over with my fingers. Turn it, push and press and pull. Push, pull, push, pull. Push, pull, oops. Push, pull. Flip, push, pull, flip, push, pull, flip. One more. Let's do one more. Cut that short enough so it doesn't go past the edge there. That's the outer edge. If you find that they're crooked, you can take your pliers and grab either corner and gently squeeze. That straightens your bindings a little bit. Let's make some prongs. This top wire, and bring up at a nice sharp 90-degree angle. I didn't make any more marks because all the bending kind of screws up the measurements. So I shouldn't have made the 3mm mark because the bend takes a little bit of the wire. Okay, get your Sharpies again. Measure out 3mm. So my flat nose pliers are about 3mm. So I can come in, put my pliers right up next to that mark here, and push. Then come through and gently tease your wire. Try to get them even. I go back and forth. Try to get your mark right on the top of these curves. Come through and gently press. These wires should be parallel to each other. Make sure your square wire doesn't twist on you either. You should have something that looks like this. And now I'm going to grab it again, same way I made the first bend, and bend your wire back up again. So it's parallel with that second wire. Okay, all right, so we're going to put some bindings on either side of these prongs. Just like before, I'm going to put a bend. Flatten them out. Should be nice and snug against the prong. 3 should be good. Snip that off. Flatten it. Same with this side. Coming along nicely. Before I add any more bindings, I'm going to need to incorporate our middle wire. But first, let's bind these 3 bottom wires right in the center. A half round might be too short and hard to work with. Push, pull, flip. Push, pull, flip. Push, pull, flip. Push, pull, flip. Just going to use what's left of my wire. Made 5 wraps, that's perfect. Let's draw a mark. That's about how far they need to be from each other. Seems like a lot. Actually, move that up so that the bottom is at the, there we go. That's more like it. Seems like a lot. What was I doing? Oh my, I wasn't even measuring right. Start over. So they need to be about that far away from each other. Look, we saved ourselves like 3 or 4 wires. Make sure your ugly side's facing in. Grab your top wire. Gentle angle going in it. A little bit more. Put more bindings on. Okay, we're going to line up these square wires right here, and we're going to bind them together. Wrong way. There we go. Gotta make it around. Let me start over. I'm gonna make my hook a little bit shorter. Keep checking, make sure your ugly sides are towards the inside, or the ugly sides are both facing the same way. That's a better way to put it. It's going to be tricky pulling your half round through that little space. I don't want to bend it and make it cockeyed. It's going to be tricky pulling your half round through that little space. I don't want to bend it and make it cockeyed. Oh, see, I twisted. It's cockeyed. Shorten my end up. Press and pull. Press, pull. Press and pull. Okay, that's 4. Let me say 12 millimeters till the next prong. I should probably just keep going. Darn it. Okay. Actually, I gotta bring this wire back down again, so I can't go all the way. Let's stop it there. Let's unwind it a bit. We do 5. Yeah. Hate wasting, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Being wasteful. Okay, let's go to the other side. Put a hook in it. Okay, 5 on that side. And we're gonna bring this wire back down again. Not that wire. What am I doing? Make sure everybody's straight. put my ugly sides on the wrong side. Not paying attention. Try to straighten these out. Hopefully I can salvage it. I bent the wire, so that should be fun. Trying to get this off. I made it nice and snug. What not to do. Not cutting anything, I'm just lifting. Come on. There we go. Try to get these as straight as I can so I can slip them back on again. This would be much easier to live with if it were copper. But it's not. So we'll see what we can do here. And my wires are all out of whack. That's the back. Okay, so let's try this again. Kind of make sure they're the same angle. And bend it up so it's parallel with the other wires. Bind the bottom ones now. All right, I need some more half round. Surprise, surprise. Trim a little bit of that off. Okay. Okay, hopefully this works out. About 2 inches should fit around the stone. And I gotta make another pair of prongs. What did I say? 12 millimeters. I see another mistake. See 6 wraps on this side. 2, 4, 6. I'm chock full of stupid mistakes for you today. Just making sure everything lines up. Looks about even. Line up my flat nose pliers right next to the mark here. And go straight up. Same thing on this side. Use my flat nose pliers as a guide. Mine are 3 millimeter. Bring it right over the top of them. I didn't make my 3 millimeter mark, but you can go ahead and do that before you do your prongs. Pinch it and bring your wire back up to parallel. Look at that crazy guy. Isn't that cool? Okay, so I'm going to put some bindings on. Maybe I'll butt up right against the previous bindings. might be a little tricky because we're working in a tight space. So in the back, I'm going to just bring it around the prong. I want the front to stay straight. Leave the angle in the back. See, there's the angle. We're going around the prong. We'll do 5 wraps, just like the bottom. Double check that this is the ugly side. Okay, this is where we bring it across. In the back. Should we put the tips on our prongs? Found something round. Or I can shape it. Look, that's starting to look like a setting, huh? Put some foam down. Ooh la la, I love it. All the hard work just magically comes together. Oh my goodness. I think I want to do a nice simple design and just have all these wires just converge together. Gorgeous. Can't tell you how excited I am right now. It's like my best jacked up pendant yet. Okay, so I have to figure out a bail. Have these converge. I want to keep them totally straight. I want these sides straight and I want them straight with either side. That makes sense. No crisscrossing. And tape them up higher. Try to help keep these in line. This is just regular old painter's tape. Hopefully get you back in there seated for good. There we go. Kind of get it started up higher because it's easier. Easier to get it tight. Slide it down. How far down do I want it to go? I want it to go pretty far. Yeah, it's pretty good. one last time to make sure everybody's straight. Bindings look pretty even. Okay, I'm just gonna let that hang. I'm gonna work on my bail now. So these outer two here, and bend out slightly. I'm gonna bring them back in, and the next two, the second two are gonna be our middle wire. Let's bring those out to the side. These four are going to form our bail. Grab a small dowel. You got to bend your wires around. Bring them right down the back. I'm going to need to cut it off. Cut off a good amount. Straighten that out. I was planning on going all the way around with the wrap, but I don't know if I want to. I like that look. Nice and clean and simple. These guys I want to bring straight down and snug these bindings. So let's work on these, get them out of the way. Tighten these up. I want things nice and straight, not cockeyed. Should I cut them? I found another mistake. There's 6 here. How do I do that? I'm gonna keep a tally when I go to edit this. Snip these two. Make sure that's all I'm snipping. This is the end of my half round wire. I'm gonna bring it through the center here. Cut these shorter, I think. Just felt like bringing these side ones up across and in front. Don't look too bad. Hopefully I don't regret this. Stopping it halfway up. Okay, I think I'm done farting around. fiddled with the bail too much. Looks a little chewed up, but hopefully a little buffing can fix that, make it look better. Other than that, the jacked up pendant part looks awesome to me. I'm really happy with it. Just gonna check my prongs, make sure they're laying against the stone nice. Just gotta make sure they're all sitting at the right angle. What'd you think of that tutorial? Did you enjoy it? So some fun facts about citrine. Citrine is the yellow form of quartz. I chose citrine for this week's tutorial because it happens to be November. Citrine is believed to be the gemstone of happiness. It also promotes creativity, helps personal clarity, and eliminates self-destructive tendencies. I guess it's got many medicinal uses. It's believed to aid in digestion, remove toxins from the body, and be useful in the treatment of depression, constipation, and diabetes. That's interesting. I wonder how it's used. The colors range from a pale yellow, yellowish brown, to almost a red. The yellow color is from the presence of iron. The darker the color, the higher the grade. Citrine can be easily confused with topaz, the yellow form of course. So, welcome to the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking around. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. Check out the description box below, all my links are down there. Have a great week and I'll see you next time. But in the meantime, check out this video next. Bye!